Greetings everyone, my name is Rayvenwing and welcome back to the Desert City series. Last time I got a little distracted and spent the whole episode making a mace arena, which was incredibly fun and a great challenge to tackle, with results I'm pretty happy with. But now it's time to get around to the stuff that was originally going to be the subject of that episode, the wool shop. It's going to go right over here to cover my wool farm. And well, it looks like I'm going to have to add to the inner wall a bit to get it up to where I'm building first. So I'll do that while I talk about the general plan here. I haven't been making too much progress on the walls, to be honest. I have the outline for them and know how to build them, I just haven't gone around to actually building them. Of course, the amount of resources needed doesn't exactly help that. So I guess that I'll just continue adding to them as I need to, or when I feel like making progress in that area. Anyway, back in the very first episode of this series, I made a stall for the wool merchant, and I described him as a local and a community figure. This shop will be the main place for his goods and further sales beyond the basics offered at the stall. I'm thinking that the shop offers carpets, custom banners, and more alongside regular wool. Also, it's a place where other people in the city can be safe and comfortable, both thanks to the cozy woolen goods and the kind company that they always find there. For the build itself, I've planned out a rough idea for decorating the interior of the farm, but I'm less sure about the exterior or interior of the shop itself. Plus, parts of it will be circular or diagonal based on where it's set up, so that will be a challenge. Let's get to it. Okay, the wall is in. That does look better. Now I have a better idea of the space that I have to work with, because rather than just having a stone block right there, now it's actually a structure that I can build up against. Of course, around when I was building this, I had the thought of maybe changing the design for the inner wall, so it looks different from the outer wall, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. That'd take a lot of work. Plus, I didn't notice until now, because a lot of my structures I'm planning on having in various sandstone, but since these lower parts of the wall are actually wood, the sandstone might stand out a little bit, so that could be good. Anyway, enough about the wall. Let's look at the shop to be. So obviously, like you already saw, my sheep farm is in here. I've got all 16 colors. I can't really credit wherever I got the design from, because I have made it dozens of times and do not remember. But it feels like the one you kind of see variations of all over the place, so it's not anything revolutionary. Just a pretty basic sheep farm. Like I mentioned before, I do have an idea of how I'm going to decorate this part of it. So I know how tall that will need to be, and it'll basically fit under where that line of granite is. So up here, thinking this will eventually be just one of the staircases people can use to get from the lower layers of the city up to here. Of course, I'll make the staircase nicer when I get to that point. So this flat spot could be a little park or something. I may have to raise it a few blocks above here, though, just to make sure that everything fits. After I put in whatever decoration stuff I want to put in here, then I can raise the level of whatever this is going to be accordingly. So, first I wanted to at least kind of roughly outline where the outside of the shop can be. Okay, it's not going to be that big, so I want to get this outline done before I do the interior, just to lay out a rough idea. So, staring at blank canvas. Okay, just do something. Make progress. Okay, so I'm just trying to imagine, like, what area is considered the farm and what isn't. Because I don't actually need the bottom parts of these pillars to be taken into consideration for the shop itself. It's basically, as long as this upper arch stays the same, then it's fine, and that might get raised anyway. Back in this corner is a bit weird. So this will be what the inside area will be shaped with. Might feel a little cramped, but hopefully it'll work fine enough. I'm gonna turn the animal sounds off real quick, because that's probably gonna drive me crazy. There you go. For the inside, I kind of want it to be a bit long and thin, kind of arced around if I can. The stairs are gonna be weird. I'm gonna have to deal with the stairs later. It's so hard to place the first blocks. It's always the hardest part. Okay, how big do I want this for? Let's do 5. Let's try 5 to start. Okay, I'm just gonna use granite for this, just because I have a fair amount of it and it's fairly distinct and easy to see, so. So I don't like this part, so let's change this part. I kind of want to make it weirdly shaped. What if I move the door up here? Doors here, and this is a fairly popular thing, then that might actually mess with the road a little bit. You could kind of veer off a bit and head towards the door. Okay, there could be a window here looking in. The door is here. I want to do a little corner one just because it seems kind of fun. Could be like a couple of signs or banners here. Okay, after a fair bit of muttering, I think that this is at least the rough idea. Obviously, like most things, it is subject to change. I probably will adjust a few things, but it's nice to have an outline on the ground. Then if I do need to make adjustments, I have something to make adjustments to. So it is getting pretty dark out, so I will go to sleep, and then I'm actually gonna start out with the interior for the farm itself, because I have a specific idea for it. And so I want to make progress where I have some direction to go with. And then I'm hoping that once I have that done, it will give me a little bit of inspiration on what the interior of the shop should look like and what the exterior of the shop should look like. So I'm gonna sleep the night away and then get started on that. And I will check in when I'm done. Okay, that is the interior of the farm part done. This part is still not built, but this looks nice. I originally had the wool color above each of the sheep wasn't super visible with this setup, so I added carpets of the relevant color in front of all of these chests, just so at a glance you can grab the right color. There is the weird gap here because there's a corner of the wall that I couldn't fit a sheep in, so there's a gap here. I don't know if I will just extend either the orange or the yellow or put a different color, I'm not sure. We'll see how much that bugs me, and if having the orange or yellow being a bit bigger would bug me more. There's this little area back here where I needed to fit the last three. This is brown, black, and gray. And this is also one of the places where you can access some of the redstone if needed. It's a bit tight quarters back here. But you can, hey bud, access it if needed. I also didn't realize until after all this that if you notice that redstone is right there, and I kept on finding these open. I'm pretty sure that the redstone is opening them. So I'll probably just have to shut those every once in a while, but it's fine. So it's kind of an odd, this little area is kind of odd in close quarters, but it works. Over here we have another access thing. This is where most of the things are accessed. You can come back and get this entire side, both above and below. So if something breaks somehow, I don't think I've ever had problems with wool farms breaking. Maybe if the only thing I could think of is if the shears run out, but it just would stop working and I'll just need to reset it. But that's not a difficult fix. I do have an iron farm. But my hope is that by building this out first, it'll give me a bit, it'll get my brain going on what I want to do for the shop itself, as well as the outside of the building. Though, sort of unintentionally, part of the visual idea I have in my brain is that this shop might be kind of tall. Like just having pretty high ceilings, maybe there's some banners hanging from them, I'm not sure. I'm still figuring it out. And the farm area kind of ended up being pretty high up, especially in here where it's so small this way, but it's, how many blocks tall is this area? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, about 7 blocks tall. Which is a bit unnecessary, but a little funny. But I think that, intentionally or not, that theming will follow into the shop itself, because I kind of want it to have higher ceilings. I'm not sure if I will bring in the colorful wood types or not. I just kind of wanted to use these because it's a wool farm, it's color, and I like these wood types, but don't get to use them very, very much because they don't usually do anything that colorful. Now, we've got to do this outer area and make it look nice and put together. In my initial thoughts, I was gonna maybe do the birch logs for the outer walls as well, but I don't want it to blend in too much with the city walls, and so I might stick with the sandstone exterior, but add some color in with a few other blocks and probably a lot of banners. So I'm gonna go get some materials together, set up a bit of an intentional chest monster, a bit of a project monster, and let's try just throwing down some probably smooth sandstone and see what kind of shapes seem to work. Okay, well this is a blob. It's a start. Ooh, don't fall. But it is a start, which is what's important here. This seems to be the blobbiest angle. It just kind of looks like a bunch of shapes, which is kind of how blobs work. This will eventually be a little pathway to get up to the second level, which will be nice. And so I'm thinking that this area might be a little that this area might be a little garden or a sitting area, and I want to make it all pretty and green and stand out from all the sandstone. Hopefully put a bit of a line between this bunch of sandstone and this bunch of sandstone, which I feel like will be a constant struggle throughout most of this build. The large-scale build, not just this individual one, though it will probably come up. But this will very much be a later problem. For now, I have this structure to figure out. I very much wanted it to be a weird shape, so that I wanted it to kind of be in this corner. I wanted parts of it to be diagonal or even circular. It turned out a bit diagonal. That upper little section is going to be the wool shop owner's little house. So I will mess with that. But for now, I've got the little corner door design. This is the current interior. Obviously back here is where the sheep farm is. I still have the sheeps silenced for now. And then back here I'm going to put another one of these little corner door things, and this is just going to be storage. And it'll probably be eaten into a little bit when I figure out the stairs. The cobblestone is not permanent, so this area is in flux. I am very, very satisfied with the shape of the interior in particular. The outside's fine. The outside, I have some mixed feelings about, but the shape of the interior I really, really like. It's just funky enough. So, shape-wise, I think, at least in the broad strokes, good. I like it. It's also getting dark, so let's go to sleep real quick. Yeah, that's very blob. I have noticed that the smooth sandstone is not great for being able to distinguish shapes. Probably not the best planning block, to be honest, because you look at it like this and it's just, you can't see any lines. So it makes it very difficult. That's why this is a better angle. You can actually see the shapes. So, two things I want to do next. First of all, I'm probably going to get rid of the granite. I had that in as just a way to add in some kind of color, but I now think that I want the structure itself to just be sandstone to hopefully make it a better canvas for the overall build. I'll just stick with the sandstone palette, kind of like that wall there, and also the green sticks shop over there, unless I switch it out and it looks horrible. And the color that I want to add into the build, I think I'm going to rely on that coming from the details rather than the structure, because I do want to cover this thing in a whole bunch of banners, and I want to use carpets and wool, and I can even implement shulker boxes somehow. That's an idea. I might put shulkers in the walls, we'll see. The wool stall has shulkers as kind of the primary storage. Maybe I use shulkers here too. That could be fun. I like that idea. Okay, I might do that. So yeah, I think the color is going to come from the details, which means that I've got to go in and switch out the granite with various cut sandstone and maybe some chiseled sandstone, stuff like that. And then I'm going to add that same mix in to define some of the lines here. So it's a little more shape and a little less blob. Just a little. So let's do that, and then if that looks good, we'll get to the decorating. There it is. Okay, that's better, I think. Not completely a blob. It's fairly subtle structure. You know, it obviously doesn't stand out a huge amount, but it's you know, the same kind of idea as the walls here. It just adds enough. I feel like that'll help. I can't go over the window anymore. The interior is the same kind of idea. Just little bits of outlines and things like that. I'm fairly happy with that as the structure. So now we've got to add detail, which will hopefully be a lot of fun color and a lot of elements that will make this interesting, and try to use this relatively plain, if not wonky, exterior as a canvas, and hopefully it'll make it fun. So I'll kind of go over some of the ideas I had as I try to add them in, and I will let you know, or you can see, how well they actually worked out. So, I'm gonna grab a whole lot of wool. So we're starting off with the floor. I wanted to use both carpets and regular wool to give it an uneven and hopefully kind of fluffy or cozy look. I didn't really want this shop to look rigid in any way, and I do think that the slightly weird carpet did help there. I mentioned this one earlier, but I thought that I would try to use shulker boxes to display the different wool types, like the stall does. I played around with the arrangement for a bit to get things to fit nicely, but I like how it turned out, even if you can't actually open the bottom corner one without breaking the carpet first. If I'm adding color everywhere, what if I try making the front window stained glass? Maybe even with a pattern. So I tried a couple patterns out and ended up with this diagonal stripy one. So I've been planning from the beginning to use banners to add color, depth, and even some movement to the build. I didn't end up using quite as many as I expected, and may end up switching some out down the line, but I did do a banner making section over here that I really like, and even decorated it with some armor stands. So I realized after building this that I had originally planned to put the shop owner's house across the street from his shop. So this upper bit will just be a part of the park area once I get that done. Then, out front, I just needed to add to the path. I connected it up with Market Street and with the rough idea for a town square. Plus, I wanted to put some carpets out here with a couple different colors to hopefully give the impression that colors may have faded a bit in the sun. I'm not sure how well that worked, but getting the path in definitely made the whole build feel more complete. Then, with just a couple more details around to finish things off, the wool shop is complete. And there it is, the wool shop is done. I am honestly pretty happy with this. I might... I'm not 100% on the pink rug, but I think it works for now. I like this little guy. This little detail's fun. I did mention, but the little sort of apartment above the shop was originally going to be the owner's house, but I forgot that I was planning on having the owner's house across the street from the shop, so it'll be over here. These sort of squares are starting to plan that out. I will probably build that between episodes, honestly. It shouldn't be a super complicated build. And this particular rectangle will be where some sheep will live, and I will be relocating those guys down there. But for the shop itself, I'm honestly very happy with it. The banners are a bit wonky, but it's fine. It's just, I really like how, from an angle like this, it is a very plain building. It's weirdly shaped, but there's not much huge attention-grabbing detail to it, except for these little splashes of color. And then on the inside, just a little glimpse into all of the color on the indoors. Also, I realized I'd never changed the pressure plates out. I do think that the stone works fine. If it bugs me, I might switch it for jungle, probably. But anyway, let's head inside, and even more color. It does look pretty goofy, but I'm honestly completely fine with that. It's fun. I like it. I added a couple actual decorative banners there. It's just a bright, colorful little shop. I've got all the sheep back here. I still have their noises turned off. I'll probably turn them back on after recording this bit, honestly. I just didn't want to have sheep noises going the entire recording. But I have all the wool that I can need in here. Up here I have some stuff like extra shears and carpets and things stored in here. I will eventually put some extra wool into these shulker boxes. It'll be like the wool stall, where honestly these will be useful as storage. Honestly, I think a lot of the shops and stalls that I build will double as an extension of more specific storage needs, so I've got all of the main colors over here, and then the grayscale and black and white over here. Just lots of bits of color. I could have probably used something more colorful than just jungle wood, but that is kind of the wood type I've used throughout in this area, so I think it works. And then over here, of course, I have my little banner making area. We've got looms, we've got a crafting table, got some materials in here, a couple more things in here. I made a couple of random banners just to have some decoration of what you can do over here, a couple of decorational books. And then of course I messed with the armor stand mod a little bit. It's nothing big, I just, have a book, a bit of paper, and some string hanging out of the chest up there. But it was honestly really fun to do. It's fun to mess around with. But yeah, It's a nice little colorful shop. It's honestly very goofy, but I'm completely fine with that. It's a lot of fun, but I'm happy with it. It was fun to build. It made me think a lot about the character that would run a little shop like this. I'm starting to think I might try to draw some of these characters or make a Minecraft skin for them, something like that. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to develop each of these characters, because they are very fun and I enjoy making them, and I'd love to get a better idea of what kind of characters they are and what they look like, and a little bit more of what their individual story is and how that story intersects with the entire city and the community that lives here. That honestly sounds like a lot of fun to me. So, let me know what you think. Let me know what you would like to see next. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone! Okay, the wall is in. Ow, I probably should have seen that coming. I kind of felt it as soon as I started walking. It's fine.